Hello and welcome to Alexander Technique London. My name's Adrian and today we're going to be discussing forward head posture, a very common problem people experience. We're going to be discussing the causes of it and how to undo it effortlessly, because that's what we do in the Alexander Technique. Not trying to do more, but trying to do less more efficiently. So a big problem with solutions for this is it's the misanalysis, the wrong analysis for this. It's caused by weak muscles and therefore the solution is to strengthen muscles. This isn't the problem. The problem is behavior and coordination. Muscles will gain the strength they need through repeated habitual good coordination. You don't need to strengthen the muscles directly in this case. So what causes the problem is your intention. Now what happens is we basically follow our attention. We go where our intention is. That's the nature of our behavior. And the thing with certain things like computers, for example, is they very much narrow and concentrate our attention onto the screen. And therefore we get drawn in. And that's a following of my attention. Of course, the next thing that happens is, that's forward head posture. Now, it's not just computers. People do it talking to each other. You sometimes find whole families have this habit of talking to each other like this. They're drawn in because their intention is all there. They're very engaged with that. And they get drawn in. They've gone where their intention is, gone where their focus is. So the solution is, firstly, just become aware of that. See if you can say no to that. Now, I'll have to admit, with computers, that's actually quite hard. They are quite a strong draw, particularly because the nature of the work you're getting, you're typing away and you're not really thinking about yourself and activity, just the words on the screen. So it takes a bit of time to keep reminding yourself. It's a skill that you build in time. So don't worry about it if you catch yourself out. The more often you catch yourself out, the better. Never feel guilty about it. The observation is the win. In fact, you've noticed yourself here and you go, I can come back. And the other thing to know is how to undo some tight muscles that have caused, that are embedded, through this. If you're like this all the time, these muscles have to overwork to stop you falling forward. So now these muscles are really tight. So it's not a matter of muscle weakness, but tightness. So that we need to release these muscles at the back of the neck, which I'll explain in a minute. The other thing we need to know is just naturally how the head balances on top of the spine, so that you're putting less strain through this area. So what you need to know is that your spine ends up kind of through here, through this little indentation underneath your earlobe there. That's the top of your spine. It's a lot higher than people realise, kind of level with the underside of the nose. And that's the axis around which you nod, the atlanto-occipital joint. And the thing to know about this joint is it's ever so slightly to the rear, so that your head naturally just wants to fall forward over it, just rotates forward. And as that happens, as it rotates forward, you get length at the back of your neck, so that releases your neck muscles. So basically, from gravity encouraging your head to roll forward, you get length up your back of your neck and your upper back. In fact, we've got muscles that are attached to what's known as the mastoid tip here and come diagonally forward down the front as well, so you get lengthening there as well. Just by letting gravity do its thing, there's a well-known phrase in the Alexander Technique, let the neck be free, to let the head go forward and up. The most important word there being let. We've evolved to take advantage of our environment. We don't have good posture despite gravity, we have good posture because of gravity. And in fact, that's a whole other subject, gravity. People totally misunderstand that. It's not a force that pulls you down. But I won't go into that now. I'll put a link below so you can find out more how your environment is aiding and giving you good posture, if you let it. So, what we want, yes, is this natural balance here. Now, admittedly, most people don't actually sit at a computer, they recline. Now, I don't have a back to this stool, but I hold my tummy muscles tight. You can still get a sense of this orientation of length up the upper back of the neck. And you just want to leave that there. So it's basically saying no to this attention grabbing thing being here. And just keep reminding yourself every now and then, stay back. Of course, the more you stay back like this, the less work all this has to do, because it's nicely balanced. Your head's nicely balanced on top of your spine. If your head's poking forward, then, like I said earlier, all these muscles have to pull to stop you tipping forward further. So it's actually the efficient way to do it, just to not poke your head forward. That's what it's really about. It's not about doing something correctly, it's just about not doing things. Saying no to that desire to go like that. So it's a behaviour issue. It's not a muscular issue. It's not a weakness issue. So now that you know that, how can you undo some of the tension you've already built in? Well, the best way to do that is with what we call constructive rest. Now, I did do an entire video on constructive rest a few weeks ago, which I'll link to, but I'm just going to cover it very basically here because I mentioned forward head posture in that as well. So what it is you basically lie down with your head on some books or yoga blocks. And the thing with forward head posture is sorry, I'm off camera, because there's all this tension here, you really want to help kind of stretch it. I'm going to come sit down again. I say stretch. We don't want to mechanically bully it, because what happens is if you do that, the muscles will just tighten, because they'll feel the nervous system treats the muscles as being under threat, and it tries to protect them by tightening. But we can release into a direction, and that's what I call stretching. So you do it much more slowly, take your time, do it over 5-10 minutes, maybe longer if necessary. Really take your time with it. But if I have some books in it, I've purposely set the books quite high here. And the reason for that is you'll notice that it creates a bit of a stretch up the back of the neck. And that's really not, I could probably even go higher, to be honest. But that nice stretch, you can just really release into. So effectively I'm lying, ironically, with a forward head posture, but I'm not having to do any work to maintain it. And that's the important thing. So these muscles can actually let go. You really want to have a sense of still that rotation forward over the atlanto-occipital joint. And you basically just lie like this for a period of time, 10-15 minutes, and it will really help to release these muscles. What I recommend before you get up is actually spend some time in a more neutral alignment. I don't really like the word alignment because it sounds a bit stiff, like something you're trying to achieve and hold. That's not what we want, but something a little more neutral to your natural posture. So if I take this book out, I actually know from experience, although I find that comfortable, actually I can go one lower. That would be, give or take, what my natural posture would be if I was to be then upright. Spend some time like this before getting up, so proprioceptively you know where your sort of home base is. Now, it's different for everyone. It depends on the shape of your upper back, and it may change in time. The thing is not to treat it as, let me get up again actually. The thing is to not treat it as an exercise and going as low as possible. That's not what this is about. This is actually trying to just find what's best for you, and that will be different for each person. And then when you get up, you can sort of remind yourself that when you were lying down like that with your head supported on the books, that you just bring that up and then it stays all in the same alignment. And then here I am. I'm just here. And I can keep my head over that atlanto-occipital joint and that joint over my sits bones. And I effectively just sort of stand, but on my backside. That's what sitting really is. That's what I call it, standing on your bottom. Standing and sitting are the same thing for the torso. But I'm getting the best support like this. So it's actually not something I do to get correct. It's actually the most economical and frankly lazy thing to do. And that's fine. It's being lazy without the guilt. So this is efficient. I'm not trying to do it effectively. You're not held in place. I'm still mobile because I'm balancing. But then just saying no to that desire to be drawn forward. That's the thing, saying no to this. So it's a behavioural issue, not a muscular issue. I hope you found that helpful. If you're interested in online lessons, do get in touch. Take care. See you next time. Okay, bye.